Hello again, let's continue learning Camtasia tools. In this video, first, we'll see what are transition effects. They can be added to the beginning, end, or between media to smooth flow, or indicate passage of time. Then we'll see how behaviors effects can liven up text and media inside our project. Finally, we'll learn how to use animations, to zoom in, zoom out, tilt, scale, and more. Alright, let's start. If you remember, we learned how media files can be imported to the media bin. In the previous video, the Camtasia library and annotation tools were explained. Note that, when the cursor is held on a specified tool, a short introduction and its shortcut will appear. So, I can press the N key on my keyboard, to open the annotation tools panel instead of using the cursor. Now, we're going to see what are transition effects. Transition effects usually are used between files such as videos, images, and annotations. Let me use one of them between these two different videos. The first one is related to a PowerPoint, and the second one explains our YouTube channel. Notice as I'm dragging a transition effect, Camtasia showing me with yellow highlights, where I can put the transition. As you see, a transition allows us to go from one clip to another smoothly, instead of a sharp transition. Let's use another transition effect. At this time between these two annotations. Alright, let me click here to back and remove to inserted transitions. As you see, transitions are categorized into 5 groups. I usually don't use most of them. In my opinion, that's not a professional to use a lot of transition in a video. Maybe that's okay for a family video. As you know, when a transition is dragging, some yellow parts will appear, where the transition can be added. Now, the cursor is near the beginning of this video, so the transition will be added here. You can notice that, with these green rectangles. If I move it to the center, the transition will be added at the beginning and end of the video. And if I move the cursor to the end, the transition will be added here. Let me use the transition for both sides. I can replace the transition with another one easily. Let me use the face transition. At this time, red rectangles tell us the previous transition is going to replace with another one. Alright, let me tell you another point using the fade transition. As you see, when a transition is selected, its properties can be changed on the Properties panel. Well, what's this option? Use trimmed content. First, let me have a copy of the selected video on another track. Pay attention, maybe a beginning part of the video has been removed before. So, if this option is enabled, the fade transition will use this part of the video, during the transition. Otherwise, only the first frame of the video, will be used during this time. Let me hide this track. Now, behind the first video, the next video is playing. If I disable this option, only the first frame of the next video will be used as a constant frame, for the first part of the fade transition. So, if you want to use the removed part of the video, enable this option, use trimmed content. Alright, let me delete this extra video. Note that, you can right-click on a transition to delete it, or disable the previous option. Also, you can go to the Edit menu and open the Preference window. Inside its Timing tab, some default duration times can be changed, such as transitions, images, and annotations duration times. Usually, default times are suitable for any project, so, let me click here, to restore default times. Alright, now, let's see what are behaviors effects. These effects can be used for media files like annotations, images, or texts. Let me use one of them. As you see, another tab is created on the Properties panel, related to this annotation. First, let's see its effect on the annotation. As you see, the blue text is shaking continuously. Alright, if a behavior effect is added to a media file, a new section will be added on the Properties panel. As you see, it has three parts: in, during, and out. In the first part, we can determine how the selected media appear on the canvas. Inside the second one, we can determine the behavior of the selected media during the video. I don't want to select any behavior effect, so let me select the none choice. The out part determines how the selected media exit from the canvas, or the main video. First, I must select a style, after that its movement type. Also, I can adjust the speed of the select behavior. Now, let me play the video again. Well, I don't like the exiting behavior. Let me change it. Alright, this one is okay. Now, I want to use the same effects for the next annotation. I can right-click here and copy its effects, then paste them on the next annotation. Note that, if I click here, I can understand which effects are added to the annotation. Now, let's click on the play icon. Similarly, let's use the customized effect for the first annotation too. Well, try to change these settings to find your desired behaviors. As you know, every time you can click here to back settings to their default values. As I mentioned before, these effects can be used for text too, but in two ways. First, let me insert a text. Well, let me use this effect for the PLC goods text. As you see, inside the type field, the whole text can be considered as an object like images, or the selected behavior acts on each letter separately. For example, let's select this one, first to last, and see its result. Now, let me select the object for all three tabs on the Properties panel. As you see, at this time, the whole text is considered as one object. Alright, let me delete the last inserted text, and go to the next tool panel, Animations. I usually use the first one, the custom animation. For now, let me hide this track. I have nothing to do with that. Now, I click on the video, after the inserted animation, and then, change the video properties like its scale. Let's use the custom animation again. At this time, I want back the scale feature to its default value. Similarly, let's use another one. Note that, I can hold Shift+A, to add a custom animation. At this time, let's change the opacity, and also a rotation angle. Alright, after each custom animation, I can have different properties. The second animation can be used to restore them to their previous values. Now, properties of this part will be used for this section. Note that, I can copy properties of a part of the video, and use them for another part. Now, let me click on the play icon, to see the animation's effect on the video. Well, you've learned how the custom and restore animations work. After these two animations, there are some predefined animations too. No, and full opacity animations change the opacity attribute. Note that if the cursor is held over an animation, the animation preview will be played. I usually use them to zoom in or out an area of my video that I want the viewers to focus on. Although you can have all animation using the custom one, you might use these three animations, scale up, scale down, and scale to fit for this purpose. The last one, Smart Focus, can be used to zoom in and out automatically, based on the cursor movement. It can be used only for videos, which are recorded with Camtasia software. Try to use the Smart Focus animation, but I prefer to do that manually, using this section. Let me show you. Well, I want to focus on the subscribe button, when I request viewers to click here. As you see, an animation has been added here. Let's test the inserted animation. Now, at this time, I want to zoom out and back to the default scale. I can use the restore animation, or select desired area from here. Note that, here are two choices that can make the zooming process easier. Actual size, and scale to fit. Well, the actual size of my video is not matched to the canvas size. So let's use the second choice. Now, let's test two inserted animations. Alright, as you have noticed, we can apply different properties to a video using animations. For example, now, I've divided my video into 3 sections, using these two animations. I can select each section and then adjust its properties. Note that, if you want to change a property for all sections, you can click here. As you see, all animations have been selected. Now, if I change a property on the Properties panel, it will apply to all sections, in another word, it will be used for the whole video. Okay, we've reached the end of this video. In the next video, we will look at other tools available, such as cursor effects. Thanks for watching my content. If you have any question on this topic, make sure you leave them in the comment section below, and if you can spend a few seconds of your time liking as well as sharing this video, if you enjoyed it, that will mean a lot to me. If you have any suggestions for the channel, such as what kind of hardware or software I should be covering, then make sure to leave that in the comment section. See you next time. Bye bye.